technology is always a solution in the crisis. So technology will be really handy. There are multiple areas in which this technology would be adopted. One area is in the conduction of admission tests. The other area where technology definitely will play a most important role is in the learning space.
For online education to really become mainstream and enroll millions of students rather than hundreds of thousands of students, we need to have online degrees that are accredited by the various agencies.
My message to all the students and the higher education stakeholders is we need to double our efforts in this time in order to sustain and keep our economy afloat.
In India, we have to look at technology and education 4.0 as actually providing education to the uneducated, people who are not getting quality education.
Education 3.0 was nothing but technology driven. This is now going to be a permanent feature and is now going to figure in all the teaching learning activities of times to come.
I welcome you all to Placement Connect by Collegedunia, Season 1, Chapter 1. My name is Shruti and I am currently a young leader at Collegedunia Web Private Limited, which is India's largest review platform and leading search engine portal for higher education in India. So today we're here to discuss on revolving doors of talent and recruitment, the challenges and solutions. So as the recruitment landscape changes with the ever-increasing speed, so does the role of human resources and the training cells of various colleges, which is the highest, important method of important portal of education in India. We've come a long way from processing employee paperwork to now holding a complete, recruitment process online, sitting from home. But looking at the recent scenario, one of the most important issues which HR and training is facing is the high attrition rates at organizations. So we will be discussing on the same as to what are the possible reasons for the same, the challenges being faced, and the possible solutions to reduce the attrition rates right now. So what better than listening from the experts who have been in the industry? Hence, we've invited prestigious dignitaries from the fields of human resources and placement cells. Now, I would like all the panelists for joining us today. It's an honor to connect with you all, and I'm excited to hear your insightful thoughts and experiences. So today we have Ms. Vineeta Nair, who is the HR manager at Infosys. We have Ms. Nandini, the co-founder at Oddballs and an HR freelancer. We have Ms. Shruti, who is management trainee at Rupeek. We have Dr. J.D. Sharma, head career development and training center at Punjab Engineering College. We have Mr. Manoj Sharma, head and PPU of LNMIIT Jaipur. We have Mr. Manoj Madhavan, who is the director admission and outreach at SRM Sonipat, and Mr. Sarathi, who is Director Placement at Invertis University. So panelists, I would like to have opening remarks from each of you. So can we please start with Ms. Vineeta Nair? Can you please start with your opening remarks?
See, attrition is an industry-wide problem right now. Post-pandemic, suddenly organizations, when I say organizations, I mean the client organizations, the businesses, have relooked at how they see. Some of them have done well, some domains have done extremely well during the pandemic, while some have not. And those who have not are reassessing their business models. And when they reassess their business models, they require talent or they require help from organizations like us, services organizations like us. So, which is why suddenly the market has opened up and people are starting to look out. There was initially, when the pandemic started, there was a little bit of a fear whether businesses are going to do well, are we going to get laid off? So people were waiting and watching. But once the market has really opened up and people see a lot of opportunity outside, so we have, of course, attrition is a problem for us as well. So we have people moving across. What we need to do about it, I mean, we can discuss in the course of the panel discussion. But the technology landscape is changing. So that is where I think our focus should be.
That's great. So, what about, can we have the opening remarks from Mr. Manoj?
In terms of, as ma'am has rightly said that, earlier we were not very much aware that how this pandemic will, unfold going forward. But suddenly we saw that there has been an upside, trend in terms of hiring. So now many companies are looking for 21 passed out students, those who have already, joined the organization. So when we saw that there was a temporary halt during 2020, even in the campus hiring as well, in experienced hiring as well. So some of us could anticipate that it might come back with a full force. But in terms of attrition, for example, if I talk about only the fresher student, because I majorly deal with college going students. So we always tell them, I think it is a duty on our side as well, that we explain them that, do not go by this flow immediately. There might be that you got a 20 lakh package and then another company is giving you 25 lakh package. But ultimately, you have to look for a career building rather than being a jumping jack and, running after money. So at the university level, we decided to, make some policies where we straightforwardly refused some of the companies which came back to us asking for the data of 21 passed out students. And we saw that such company has a huge, range of packages, and there is quite a big difference in terms of packages. But we finally decided that we are not going to share any such data with them, because ultimately it is disrupting the market and it is going to affect us badly. Because if it is opening up like this, it might shatter immediately, probably next year itself. So we decided that whosoever has joined, it is a good thing that one should stay at least 1 year with that company, or 1.5 years. At least build your profile. So in IT industry, if I talk specifically, money is not the constraint as of now. So if you are talented enough, you're placed at 10 lakh, probably within 1 year time frame, you might reach up to 20 lakh, 25 lakh. There is no major gap into this. So we have seen that very young people becoming VPs of certain companies. So this is what we did from our part, that at least a student should stay. But still, they are young kids. Money motivates everyone. So yes, we are still in a journey of that. But I think we should play our part of the job.
Right. That's great. Can we have the opening remarks from Ms. Shruti?
Hi team. So I think a lot of points to relate to from what Manoj sir has just mentioned. But apart from that, like a major point I've realized coming out of campus recently and looking at a lot of peers is that the major concentration from our side right now is on like, where do we go if we stay for long in this company? How are we really contributing, or how important is our role right now? In case in the initial months, we get a sense that we are doing kind of monotonous work, or somewhere we are unable to see our career growth in a very positive way in that company. That kind of is bringing down the motivation to stay or to kind of continue. And a lot of people are ready to take pay cuts but go to a better role when they're coming out of campus. So yes, I think there's a little shift in that thought process of like, if we get a better package, we should move. That somewhere is not the case anymore. For at least most of us, it's more like we are just beginning our career in our new fields. So we would want to kind of make sure that initial 2-3 years we have a varied experience and we have developed certain amount of confidence in the area that we are working. So if that's missing in the initial 1-2 years, we're very apprehensive about it, and we kind of want to make sure we go into that safe zone.
Right, great. Can we have the opening remarks from Mr. Manoj?
Yeah. I think I partly believe with most of the comments made by my predecessors, and since I am in a different facility in terms of I'm in the university, right? So I'm dealing with a lot of parcels and graduates per se, freshers. So what I have seen at least SRM is that of course there are certain industries which have been the biggest sufferers, because I run programs on, let's say, hotel management has been the most affected one because there is simply completely frozen. But on the other hand, I would say, at any situation can be, there are two sides of a coin, right? Likewise, what this COVID-19 has done is actually acted as a catalyst and forced a lot of companies to quickly migrate from a traditional, companies, more of a morely digitalized, or let's say digitally aligned companies. So even a simple, job roles have become more digitally aligned. So there is a lot of demand. So I would not say there is yes, on paper yet many people are talking about economic depression. There is a lack of job and all these things. But when I see my recruitment cycle, when I work very closely with students, of course there are always companies looking for talents. There is no dearth of talents. It's just a matter that one needs to constantly look out for challenges. And so that is how I would put it. For example, if you are a mechanical engineer, of course the traditional job roles, if you see many automobile industries or mechanical industries, the core jobs, the people who are affected are the people who are at lower segment level. But if you see at engineer level, I think if you are having the top-notch technology in your hand, good institutions are teaching people about AI, about robotics, about R, and so on. There are so many technologies that are driving the companies today. It is not just the core skill set. It's not the tangible things that are making the difference. So I would simply put it this way, that as long as you are in trend, you adapt to the technological needs, I'm sure there's always going to be opportunity. I will be happy to further as the webinar goes on.
Great. Now I would request the opening remarks from Dr. J.D. Sharma.
Hi, thank you. Is my video okay?
Yes, it's
right,
fine.
it's right.
Yes.
I take this attrition not as a problem, but I think it's an invincible part of the job career that a person is evolving for. But I think I see it in two ways. One, attrition at the level that we are dealing the students, that is at the university level. And second is the attrition at the institution or the company level. So I think I mostly deal with the students at my level. How we take care of this attrition at our level is that we have a very robust mechanism which is generally very, very transparent and being told to the students. It is told to the students at very initial level before the placement cycle starts, and we make the students eligible and ineligible for the given profile depending upon one static value that we generally take, we call as a Y factor, which includes a lot of things, basically which involve the CTC in hand, the variable they are going to get, and second, the type of job profile. As Shruti mentioned and Manoj highlighted some points, that there is always some gap between what students expect from his first company and what he gets. But I think we keep that margin very clear to the student that anyone sitting in a CTC of say 20 lakhs is not eligible for 22. So there's a margin of 1.5 factor of 1.4 at least. So if you have a given skill set that you are eligible for 20, then it means you will also crack 21. You are doing nothing, just creating a problem for your peer as well as the company. If really you want to go ahead, we give them the second chance. But with another skill set you require, that you should apply for the company, we generally go for 30 lakhs and above. So what that do is that completely changes the job profile of that student, and he has to develop a completely new subset. So at my institute, the attrition rate at university level is very, very low. In the market, when it is seen to be nearly 4 to 5%, and I go below 1%. So most of my students who generally get into the companies, they join because our structure is like that they cannot sit in any next company once they are taken up by one. So this is my basic opening remark for attrition which is coming.
Great. Now I would request the opening remarks from Mr. Sarathi.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak on certain issue and challenges about the placement scenario of current 21 batch. So we have got a moderate experience for placement in this duration, and we had told our student about the current pandemic situation, about the market scenario which is going on currently there. There are few sectors which we have expected, okay, fine, we'll get some kind of a better opportunity, and we got it. And some sector like automobile and the construction sector, where the openings are a little bit less. So we have engineering department, which includes IT, civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics. These are the things. So a few students got good, excellent placements, and few students have got a very small opportunity to showcase their talent. Let's say, for example, we have got little bit of less recruitment drive for civil engineering student, and little bit less for mechanical engineering student. It is always there. This problem was the gray area, which badly affected in this 2 year, in 2020 and 2021. So student got less opportunity over there, and we face a lot of challenges over there to convince student, okay, you can shift your job to IT or something like that. So student, they said, fine, we would be stick to our study, and we'll stick to the job profile which we have dream about. So these are the area we got some problem, and in the sector of IT we got bumper offer, something like that. So students have got multiple offers there. So student got good offers, 2-3 offers in their kitty. In terms of IT companies, they have provided good offers. And if you talk about the management placement, like financial sector companies, they also come up with good offers. Student got good offers into financial sectors. Then marketing, HR, these are the area where we got a little bit less opportunity from the student, but we didn't get any problem to place our student in this area. So sufficient number of students got placement over there. In between of in the mid of January and February, there was a little bit slowdown of hiring process. Now after this June, July, again we got good response from the company. They are very keen to hire student for 21 pass out batch. Already students have passed out from the university, and they are out of the university. But still, we are getting opportunity for them, and we are providing them this opportunity. Whosoever got less placement, something like that. So we are giving them a better opportunity to cope up with a better offer, something like that. So this past year 21 placement was a moderate experience for us in terms of placing student to the corporate. But anyhow, we are able to place somewhere around 90% placement, achieve 90% placement for 21 batch for all stream.
Great. So now I would request Ms. Nandini to give some opening remarks.
Hello team. So coming from the similar background wherein I'm talking to the HRs day to day, wherein I'm understanding their expectations for their openings, understanding their the gaps that these guys are facing. So as far as my understanding is, I think there are two phases of alteration problem that we have seen, that I have personally seen. So before this pandemic also, there were certain issues that was very common, right? So earlier, alteration was mostly because of employer branding in the market, right? So people were switching because XYZ reason, like work culture of certain organization, be it they were there for like 6 months or so, still they were switching because the culture was not fit, the scope of profile was not clear. So there were many reasons before that. But again, these days, like 2020, 2021, there is a sort of disruption there in the market, right? So for freshers and for lateral entries both, if I say freshers, people are dropping their specialization. Suppose an HR person in HR specialization, because placement is coming up for sales, for marketing, for a desk job, or for say work from home sort of opportunities. So HR people are dropping their specialization and going towards the sales or marketing opportunities, which again is not their forte or their area of interest. Sooner or later they realize the same and basically try to switch or basically hop the job, right? And if I talk about lateral entries, then again techies are there in the market doing offer shopping, holding 3 to 4 offers there in their hands. Again, the other reason could be like suppose ABC company is downsizing for a particular sort of department, right? Other people or other level of management are when they notice the same, that these guys are downsizing, they again sort of started planning their change too. So yeah, so these two phases that I have seen for freshers, for lateral entries, that is a challenge that is always going to be there in the market. It is the responsibility of the recruiter, of the HR person, of the engagement team of the corporates, who needs to communicate, who needs to work on their branding part so that these guys stay there. And of course, talking about the freshers, they need to be very much decisive about the fact, because COVID is there for like a year, 2 or 3 or 4. That is very uncertain. But again, this is about their career choices. So yeah, that's all that I have seen, and that is the experience that I have. That is very common there in the market these days. Yeah.
Great. It was great to know the opening remarks. So let's start with our panel discussion. I would like to open the floor with one of the most important questions of discussion right now. So I would start by asking like the views of Ms. Shruti as to what do you think are the student expectations in terms of placement from the university in general?
Okay, I think a lot of multiple aspects. Salary, of course, is one of them, but that has become more of a hygiene factor. Like, okay, if it is above a certain number, people are not worried about it anymore. Okay, that is what I've seen like around, even in my peers. Next major factor, like I mentioned before, also is what significance does your role have, the role that you're entering into, and what is the experience you will be having in your initial months. So a lot of management trainee programs are coming in right now for the university graduates. When I say this, I'm speaking mostly about like MBA colleges and management campuses. So compared to a functional role or a COE role. So management training, of course, when you finish your 9 or 12 months, you have a lot to speak about. You have a lot of understanding about different verticals, different areas. It helps you gain confidence after that 1 year. Whereas a functional role or a specific direct designation, though it seems good, it doesn't attract the students when we are coming out of campus as much as a trainee program or a well curated 1 year program does. Yeah, like this is the main aspect that I think, salary being the hygiene factor, exposure and experience in that initial months being a much more major factor.
Great. So the next question, which I think is a really important question, is that while recruiting freshers, I would like to ask this question from Ms. Vineeta, that while recruiting freshers, what are the most important skills that we look for? Are those skills like the skills which matter to you the most? Are those skills in specialization of a certain area of work? Or are these soft skills? Or maybe some general cognitive skills like multitasking, team learning, etc. So what are the most important skills that you look for in a student?
We at Infosys, we've always believed that there is only one aspect that is important, that is learnability. When we started this organization 35 years back, we didn't, though it was a software company, we didn't restrict it to hiring only computer science engineers, right? We expanded. We had people from civil, we had people from mechanical, everybody was getting hired. What was important was learnability. The person should have that skill. Everything else, we decided that we will take care of. So we have a very rigorous, we have one of the world's largest corporate universities at Mysore. So we have a very rigorous training schedule. So 6 months residential, they are in campus and we train them, bring them up to speed. After that, they are on production, for a year. And, after they come into projects, they're on production for a year before we put them into full-fledged. So that 1.5 years is pretty rigorous. And we believe that, that's the kind of investment we believe that we have to do on people who come from colleges. And I have seen even some of our competitions say that, when they finish about 2-3 years with Infosys in their initial years, they are ready to hit the road running. That's how good those people are. So everything else we take care of during those training. They're trained on soft skills, they're trained on cognitive skills, they're trained on all of that. Learnability is the key. That fire in the belly to keep learning. And that doesn't stop with the freshers, For us, it's a continuous journey. We are a technology company. Earlier, the technology shelf life used to be like 4 to 5 years. Today, it's 18 months. 18 months to 24 if you're lucky. Things are changing so rapidly. So that goes well for even our folks who are 12 years into the organization or 15 years into the organization. But it's a continuous learning process.
That's great. So now, moving on to this part which I realized during Ms. Vineeta's answer is that since these skills like learnability, cognitive skills, these are so important, then I would like to know from Mr. Manoj any specific steps your university is taking in order to enhance the soft skills and the cognitive skills and trying to create a sense in the students about learnability. So is there something specific that your university is doing? Mr. Manoj, I think your speaker is the audio is off right now.
Yeah, well spotted there. So I speak on behalf, not just on behalf of SRM University. I would also like to take, I think many good institutions, what they have done this year is that either they like it or not, they have to implement the good points that the NEP has shared. NEP 2020 talks a lot about CBCS, it talks a lot about LOCF. So these are something where a student is forced to think beyond his own, vertical. So for example, if you're a lawyer, for example, at SRM University, if you see the law program, we have introduced blockchain in law. So these are some of the essential skill set as a technological infusion in a very traditional course like law. Now, likewise, if you see, for example, a computer science engineer, what we've done is through this choice-based credit system, he or she can actually do a course on, let's say, about marketing. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about creating a product, right? Like if you're creating a product, you should also know how to take it to the market. You should know the GTM strategy. Or if you're a lawyer, you should know about the copyrights involved in it. You have to make or even if you have BCom program where other stream students are actually, learning about how to churn the numbers out, how to get the ROI, how to get the number taking. So thankfully, the NEP has come at the right time, and you have also launched something called as this ABC, I'm sure you're aware, the Academic Bank of Credits, where you can just, the cafeteria approach, I would call it. So basically, it's not just you go and get a thali. Now there's a lot of choice. This buffet system has ensured that students can actually, pick and choose. This system is not new to the globe. It already exists of so many years in developed countries like US and UK. But now, we have got this implemented in India, and this will push people to be, more of a jack of all trades. Gigs economy is really coming up now, and thankfully, this is just, again, I'm telling you, this pandemic, we should see it as a catalyst rather to push us all into this sphere where one needs to know the multiple skill sets. So we at SRM, what we do is, one is through the rigorous curriculum itself. The curriculum itself forces you to learn more out of what you're intent to do. Second part, what we do is, usually what universities does it just before the final year, that's a pre-final year, that's where the actual process starts. Like be it a CV writing or be it about the soft skill and things like that. What we have done is, starting from semester 1, we are training people on how to build an essential CV. What are the other parameters that we should do each and every semester? Now it is no more a semester break. We call it as a semester activity. We have got mandatory internship in place, and we don't just ask people to go for internship. We ensure they come back with the report and see how they can, use it in a mini project. So these are some of the steps that SRM has taken, and I'm sure many other universities are also doing that.
That's great to know. These steps are very innovative, and they are kind of like a sign as to the changing educational scenario of today, which is a very beautiful thing, I believe. I think there's one more important point. So I believe that there is a essential gap right now between the communication of educational institutions and the human resources of various organizations, basically the corporate world. So, my question would be to Dr. J.D. Sharma as to what do you think are the most important gaps that need to be filled between the corporate world and the colleges, as to with respect to skills or with respect to any thing, the major gaps which are there. Dr. J.D. Sharma, I think your speaker is muted.
Yeah, right. I think these gap has been the part of process since the time immortal, and we expect that to exist in the subsequent coming times also. Industry do move a bit faster than the academics, but the intermittent learning that we have introduced into the academic system, that generally fills this gap very well. 10 years back, 12 years back, when this internship was not so common, my institute designed a program through career development cell that how we can build make this gap as small as possible. So we came up with some internship program for 6 months. That was very new for any engineering institute, and it was by academician. To larger extent, I myself is a professor in one of the departments holding this charge, but I think at that point of time it was very difficult for me to make my fellow academicians understand that they need to go out of this institute, periphery of this institute, at least to understand that where does this gap lies. Other thing that they need to understand is that whatever is there in the book and on the blackboard of their class, how this is going to be used in industry and what is the gap between these two. Because the student has to understand that. That is the first element that Vineeta has just said about, that there should be an element of learning. Till the time you pose a challenge to a candidate during his academics, he will never learn ahead to a next technology, next learning level. So I think exposing my student to internship was one of those steps. I think 12 years back when we made it mandatory for all of the students of all branches. Now the second problem which we faced during this was that this gap was not being filled. Why? Because these internships were not quality internship at all point of time. And second was when to give this internship, whether in the 8th semester or somewhere else. Then we studied a lot of models that how at international levels or at IITs these things are being done. Then we came to conclusion that mostly the institutions are coming up with 8th semester training. And it was a big debate that whether we should send our student to 8th semester. Again, my point was that once a student is in a 8th semester in a 4-year degree course, then it means the learning which he has will never come to your campus. It will not be a part of the peer learning of the rest of the students. So if he is going to 8th semester, then better you make your degree 3.5 years only and set him free, go to the industry environment, then fill the gap by his own. So what we did there is that we formulated a process where we started giving the internship in 6th semester, which is still very awkward felt by few of the educational, and some of the companies are not coming to us because they want only the student in the 8th semester. But we worked with it, and we were able to persuade a lot of companies, and now my internship rate is nearly more than 97% who goes in the 6th semester. In 6th semester, they go to an internship, and in 7th and 8th semester, they have 20 credit project, and generally 80% of the project generally come from the sphere of their training area. So I think once a student assimilates the learning of the industry into his academics, he start correlating it well, and that's the first part of learning, that he starts synthesizing that this academic has a much stronger base than he thinks. Most of the time industry say that your learning is, you are not that well equipped as we require you. So I make my student understand you are not an apprentice that who is going to operate a machine. You are an engineer, you have a level of understanding of a process that may take 2 days, but that won't take more than 5 days for you to understand the process. Your academic should supplement whatever gap has been filled. I cannot fill all the gap. I always tell my student, I cannot give you everything. There are few things that you have to take up. And I think if the learning base is strong, then these challenges becomes a little smaller as this originally appears to be for a new person.
For sure, these the steps that Mr. J.D. Sharma mentioned are pretty efficient, and they are pretty new ways of trying to fill the gap in between the corporate world and the colleges. So my next question would be to Ms. Nandini as to according to you, why are the attrition rates rising? Is it related to the mindset of the current generation? Is it a change? Is there a change in the current generation's the way of thinking, which is causing the attrition rates to rise? So what do you think about it?
So I would be repeating myself here. Right now, what current generation is doing, these guys are the major, while we screen the profiles as well, the major gaps that we face is that the people are like job hoppers, right? So these people are dropping their specialization, making a rush in their choices in terms of what company, what industry to pick. Suppose there is a person specialized in particular industry, holding a profile in there, but because there is compensation structure or certain opportunities involved in there, like suppose work from home, flexible working timings, working cultures, these things are involved, so these guys get attracted towards that. Because of what, these guys make switches very easily and very often. So that is how this attrition rate is is going on a peak these days, specifically for the people who are holding specifically for the people who are freshers to 1 to 2 years of experience. After the certain sort of tenure, these guys realize that yes, this is not something that is very acceptable there in the industry, right? Your tenure, your stay in certain organization does matter. Apart from your experience does matter. Hopping from one job to another just to improve or just to increase your pay scale never helps, right? It helps for a tenure for a duration of 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, but not more than that, not for a long run. So this is the challenge. This is very common these days. This is a very common mistake that people are making.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. I think we might need to discuss the important factors of employee satisfaction. As Ms. Nandini said that there, today, the job hopping activity which is happening in freshers right now is mainly because they get attracted easily to certain packages, certain offers, or certain working environments. So I would like to ask Ms. Shruti as to what do you think are the most important factors of employee satisfaction in the industry? What factors hold the most importance in the minds of the employees? Ms. Shruti, you're muted right now.
Am I audible now?
Yes, for sure.
In the course of discussion, Nandini has once mentioned the engagement team has to, be active, which is completely true. The fact that most of the recent graduates are joining and are, getting trained and starting the work in a virtual zone, that itself is a little, hampener to kind of associate with the company, associate with the team, kind of feel belonged to the company. That in itself creates is a roadblocker kind of. So at that point, it becomes even more important that the one who has joined recently is reassured at multiple levels that the work that they're doing, the contribution that's being made by them is of significant value to both the team and to the company on a higher level. And make sure you kind of have, I think basic step would be to kind of have conversations with them at regular intervals, because that kind of gives us an insight into what is their outlook, is there any expectation mismatch in the initial stages. But yeah, like coming back to your question as to what would be the major factors in the current scenario, I totally agree with what Nandini said. Flexibility, say giving them an option of working from home. I worked in a company initially before Rupeek where I wasn't given an option to work from home. Like it was a mandatory step for us to go and report to our location, which was a tier 3 location. So yes, that kind of makes it difficult for you to adjust to other factors which probably are not huge if you had been working from home, right? So yes, that flexibility in the initial stages is important. Apart from that, like I've mentioned multiple times, the quality of work is important. Third thing is what hold do you have on the work that you're doing? Is it more transactional? Is it more operational? Is it more kind of following ABC steps of a team that has decided? There might be any kind of strategic importance to it, but if it's decided by somebody else and it's only being executed by you without knowing the whys and hows and whats of it, that is also a kind of something that brings the motivation of the employee to work down. So yeah, these somehow are the factors that impact the employee most in the initial months or years of months, not even years, months of their career. So once these are set, I think it's more of trying to improve on their own.
Great. So is in this current scenario that like after COVID has started, there's a chain of events that has been happening. There's a lot of change in the complete scenario as we discussed earlier as well. So my question to Ms. Vineeta would be that do you think that work from home is having an effect on attrition rates? Do you think that it is causing certain issues? What are the challenges which are being faced because of work from home situation? And how do you think that you are coping with the same, or other organizations are coping with the same? Ms. Vineeta, you are muted right now.
Thanks. Sorry. We have to come to terms with this. This is going to be the new normal. The hybrid working model is going to be the new normal. And the workplace and the workforce, everything is going to change. Challenge, if you say yes, of course, the social capital somewhere is lost. If I can just quote an example of my own organization, we have extremely beautiful campuses. We've invested in a lot of beautiful campuses. People come on campus, they meet their teams, they even if you're not sitting in the location, all of them are not sitting in the same location, you still catch up, people travel. So those things definitely are missing. People travel on site, they meet clients. So again, that interaction is also, so with the erosion of that social capital, we definitely see that attrition is picking up. Today, because they're not able to, we have employees who have joined us last year, not even stepped into our campuses. So they don't know what it is like to be in a corporate office, to meet your manager, to have those discussions. You don't have to always pick up the phone to your manager. Your manager must be sitting in the next cubicle and you can walk over for a tea and have a chat on your areas of improvement, and that's as casual as that. But now it becomes more formal and more rigid. You have to set up time because everybody's on calls. You have to, those casual conversations, that camaraderie, I feel is missing, which has also led to attrition. Another thing that we are noticing is a lot of, one of the reasons for attrition is a lot of organizations like these startups, they are really not keen on investing in an office space. They have let people work from home. Earlier, when people would leave us for a location constraint, it would be, say, I want to move to a Noida because of, Infosys doesn't have an office in Noida. We do have something in Gurgaon, but that doesn't work for a lot of people in Delhi and Noida. So that used to be a challenge for us. But today, people are moving to smaller towns. They are saying, I want to go back to Alwar and I want to go back to Udupi. And because your organization is giving you that flexibility. Of course, we do have the flexibility. We are working around the whole thing of, we have conducted a survey. We want to understand how many people want to come back to office. How many people want their flexibility. We have changed our policy. We are hiring people to give them the flexibility of continuous work from home. There are people who want to do that. Continuous, we're even hiring. So we have a part-time policy, which did not allow people to work from home. So you would work from office 3 days a week, or you would work from office half a day, every day. But now we are hiring people on part-time, to work part-time. So organizations also have to change because this is going to be the new normal. We have to change the way we are working. We cannot expect people to be commuting every day and coming to work. Office spaces will be, I think they will be these enablers, I think, going forward, where teams come in, have those meetings, have those catch-ups, client meetings happen. So I think as we go forward, I think the workspace is going to be used more for those kind of connects. And then, once a month, you get the entire team together. You meet, you discuss and have those meetings. But I think that's where the future is headed. It's going to become a lifestyle choice. Coming to work, coming to office.
For sure, that's true. I also think that is one of the major issues. So as work from home is also causing certain issues in this area about attrition. So I would like to ask Mr. Manoj Sharma as to, are there certain challenges being faced by TPOs of your college with respect to training students, with respect to conducting the recruitment online, the complete recruitment online, managing it online. So are there certain challenges, and how are you coping with that exactly?
There were a lot of challenges. If I talk about the first lockdown, when it happened in March 2020. So the major challenge was, conducting the recruitment drive online is not a challenge, but managing it with full integrity is very important. So when earlier you had to have some online test going on in your lab, you have your proctors and everything is going on. And nowadays, students would generally have a lot of pressure on them. I meet a lot of parents when they come for admission. So student is under tremendous pressure. So it is a peer pressure as well as the social pressure, because now society has started recognizing people with good packages, with good salaries and with good brands. You won't imagine parents coming for admission where the student has got 99 percentile of JEE mains, 98 percentile, because why I'm talking so, because we only take students through JEE mains. So if it is 98 percentile of JEE mains, the moment they enter the campus or they start asking regarding admissions, they would ask whether this X company visit your campus. I said it was not the time before when a parent would ask and would come and say that X company visit your campus or not. I said, why you're asking about that company only? My relative's son got placed in that company with a package of 35. Now it is something should be above 35 or at par. So but we used to tell them, relax a bit. He has just fought JEE mains, which is not an easy task to crack with such a good percentile. And now second thing is, before entering the campus, we are still pressurizing him for a better placement. Let him be a very good engineer first. So when it came to pandemic or managing everything online and virtual, so yes, there was a doubt that yes, how we are going to maintain the integrity. So that is something very important, and companies should also be sure of it, that things are moving in a fair manner. So that was the biggest challenge, but we got rid of it very clearly, because I have a team of around 30 students with me as well, from second year and third year. So we came up with an idea that we will be proctoring them online. So that was a kind of an innovative way which we devised. So students were advised to have a very good internet connection, which I think everybody could afford. They have to have a mobile device where they will be connected with us over a Google Meet link while they were giving the online test. We were watching them from one side of the table, and each group around 20 students would be there who were giving the test, and 2 proctors would be there. So this is how we thought that deserving candidates should go for the interviews. So it had a selfish motive as well, because if you have 100 people cracking the test and out of which only 2 are getting the offer, so your conversion ratio is badly hit, and people won't believe that things went well. So then we decided that, okay, first we need to gear up the trainings. So trainings went seamlessly online because there are a lot of tools present with the trainers as well as with the people of that industry. So they were able to connect with the students, help them understand. And the second part was that things were done very seamlessly in terms of integrity, and your ethics part was very important. So what we saw that we got a very, very good fruit of it, that we because we started training students well before the time. So because the placements were generally starting in August, and we were there in March. So we told them that this is something which is not acceptable, and if someone was found doing something, so he was debarred from the session. So this is something which they could not afford. So people changed immediately, and we thought that it has increased the quality. And we have seen in this 22 batch hiring as well as in 21 hiring that my written test cleared students and these final students getting offered. So there was a clear-cut correlation that yes, this guy deserved to clear the online test. Now he was performing in the interviews as well. So it has increased the number of selection per company. So this students also understood, and then we started managing it. Important part of training, which actually is very important, is the peer learning as well as the senior connect. So LNMIIT, if I talk about, we have a very, very good culture in terms of, because you cannot teach everything in a classroom. It should be there in their blood, or it should be there in the air, if you say that, once you enter the campus. So if you have to increase your median packages or average packages, then you should have number of students getting placed in high-end companies. So we have, a different informal channels which teach them subconsciously. So for example, there are peer clubs. We have coding clubs, we have robotic clubs, where students, after their academic hours, they go there for activities related to that particular subject. They do a lot of coding in a club named as Cybros. So so where fourth year students are mentoring them, so third year student also and second year student also. So all these students are part of one club, where the senior junior barrier becomes very, very less. So the moment someone enters the campus, so all these seniors would go and present their clubs to these new students, that this is the club you want to become a member of, this is the club you want to be. And all these things happened seamlessly in the online mode as well. So once they start learning right from year one, and they are not feeling that actually they are studying. So it is that fun. Okay, this is a contest going on. What was your rank? Where you stood? So everybody. So this is the culture which we maintained in past few years, and then from second year onwards we catch a hold of them regarding awareness about the placements. So awareness is very, very important. So you cannot change their attitude and behavior, as Madam Vineeta said, that it is learnability. So learnability cannot be induced in a 3 months time or 2 months time. Adaptability cannot be taught in 2-3 months time. It should be there in their daily life. So we thought that, and they should be real-time problem solvers. It should not be that they are studying the data structure and algorithm, 2 months before the actual process, and then they are, grabbing the offer. So it should be that they are able to perform as well. So this is how we coped up with the pandemic, and I think it fared well. And still there are a lot of things which are to be optimized. So we are continuously working on that.
That's great. Really sorry to interrupt, but Miss Vineeta has certain obligations. So we will be excusing Miss Vineeta for her obligations. And thank you so much, ma'am. You had the views I got from you were really insightful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Shruti, and thanks everyone. Had a great discussion.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So the next point that I am really curious about is that as Mr. Manoj mentioned, that there are a lot of challenges and a lot of different ways in which this online situation can be handled. So my question would be to Mr. Sarathi as to do you think that during this online mode there is much more effort required in terms of training the students for placement as compared to the offline situation? Is there much more effort required? And if that is required, what is the difference in between the training online and offline for student placements?
Okay. So in terms of placement, the training online and offline, there are huge difference. Training a student online would be a very difficult task if I found. I'm talking about the student. Those are coming from their little bit of a village background or something like that, where they have an issue of internet connectivity, and the issue of the infrastructure kind of personal space for their classes are not available with each and every student. If available, there will be some difficulty they will find. That is there. So connectivity is one issue where students are not able to attend properly to a class. And in this scenario, it is very difficult for a trainer to train student online. If something like that, something he wanted to convey, or whatever he can convey at the offline mode, and it would be difficult to convey to an online mode, because there would be a lot of students online mode and a small screen where he have to see and get the things done. And apart from that also, there are so many challenges students are facing in online mode while recruitment as well. Because in the recruitment also, the connection is a number one challenges with every person. It may be challenge with the recruiter, it may be challenge with the student, or it may be challenge with the other part where the connection is there. And proper coordinations not able to, it is not possible to get it online. And apart from that also, we have faced lot of challenges while conducting online interviews for each and every organizations. If we expect 100 students to be present in online mode, and interviewer want to interview one by one, then there are certain challenges that student have to wait for their turn, and maybe they would be logged to their mobile, and they would be logged to their home internet connection or something. They do not have a fixed connection, so there would be a problem at the time of their turn. They get disturbed by these uninterpreted signals and something like that. So that would be a major challenge we face. And in online mode, interview also cannot take a long time, because whatever face-to-face interview can take, if they take 20 minute, 25 minute interview, then it is not possible at online mode that interviewer can take interview for 20 minutes for each student. And simultaneously also, combinedly, they cannot take interview. That would be also a challenge. And there are students, they are well equipped with their internet connection and everything, but always we have seen that the students have a tendency that they are not switch on their video and audio also. They do not maintain proper approach while appearing in the interview or any classes. They are taking their classes by sleeping on the bed as well. We have seen that, and even if they are not dressed properly, sometimes we remind them, okay, whenever you come for a class or come for an interview, you need to dress properly. Some students have a casual approach because they feel that, okay, this is an online mode, nobody is going to tell anything about or nobody will comment on that, and they themselves by having casual approach towards their interview and all. In this scenario also, we got lot many rejections. The selection rejection process also cannot be clarified in this online mode. So there are certain challenges in online mode in different area. And if you talk about cities, if you talk about a little bit tier 2 city, tier 3 towns, we have a different level of problem of conducting the training and the placement, both of things. But anyway, this pandemic have taught us a lot. We have to maintain, we have advised our students to have a proper personal space for online classes or online interview or online webinar, whatever maybe. You should have a ideal space. You should have a chair and table, and you have to behave properly while appearing in the online mode. Your camera should be focused to your face, not to the focus to your fan or something like that. And you need to sit properly, act properly, be attentive. Sometimes what happens, there are a lot of people, they are talking, and many people are feeling, okay, fine, this is not our turn, so we'll switch off our video and we'll listen to other work and we'll do other work, something like that. So they maintain their casual approach. So we have one student to be attentive in the class, and be prompt yourself while answering the question, and while listening to others. So these are the things generally difficulties while conducting an online mode of activities.
Right. I think that this is actually a situation. It's a new situation, and I think training and placement offices are actually like catering to this in very efficient and very new and creative ways, which is an amazing thing. Because as Miss Vineeta earlier said, that it is the new normal, right? So I think it was much required, and these efficient ways are really working good, I believe. So my next question would be for Miss Nandini. As to do you think that there are some changes that human resources have been trying to implement to make the employees more comfortable in the work from home situation? Like everybody is having this issue with work from home, but is HR the HR department trying to invent some new ways as to how employees can be made more comfortable, as to, for example, to cater to problems like communication gap and leisure activities? So is there something new about that?
Yeah. So for sure, this is the new normal in the market now. Be it startups, be it corporates, be it MNCs, everybody is taking their turn towards the change, right? So what people are doing these days, for example, while this pandemic was not there, this sort of disruption was not there. So it was easy for the employees to to have a proper coordination with their colleagues, with their reporting managers, and discuss their problems and all of those things. But again, even in this sort of scenario, there are processes, there are certain ways that are being used. Suppose morning calls or morning task discussions are there. Every morning, people for any kind of industry, any sort of levels, people are having their discussion on what tasks they are going to what tasks they are going to be doing for the particular day, the developments on it, what are the gaps, and all of these things are already being discussed by people on their morning calls or on their evening calls. Some startups are not getting into micromanagement, so for the flexibility or to maintain a sort of culture, they are doing week calls as well, right? Not to get into the micromanagement sort of a thing. Apart from that, apart from this coordination, apart from this sort of communication, HRs are also planning engagement programs, right? So there are sort of these like earlier that was there for like once a month or so, but now because of this virtual coordination, virtual work, like working from home, this engagement activities, these HR engagement activities are done on like weekly or like two weeks, like one time these guys are planning for the same, so that there is a sort of a good work culture is maintained. People are known, people are in touch with the new joined person in the team. They are disconnected by this. So that's what I suppose. Am I audible properly?
Yes, you were audible. In between, the voice was echoing, but now it's fine.
Yeah. So I was saying that's what HRs are focusing on these days. Apart from just the generalist profile or recruitment and talent acquisition, HRs have this strong responsibility to focus on the engagement programs as well. That's the reason the retention part is there, right? That is how responsibility for retention comes into the picture through these sort of activities and ideas and developments.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. So, I would like to ask Mr. Manoj Madhavan as to what do you think would be the future of placements across universities and corporates in India soon? It's currently facing a wave, as we see in the online zone, and it's facing a lot of issues which are being trying to be dealt with. So what do you think would be the future scenario of colleges and university placements?
Yeah, like any situation, there is always, always going to be an uphill very soon after a downhill. So I am extremely, confident because if you see the core branches I was mentioning about hotel industry or hospitality industry for that matter, you see even a normal human being, is now aspiring to go out because we have been so confined because of this pandemic. Everyone wants to go out. So I'm sure there is going to be a lot of uphill. There's going to be a trend. There's going to be a lot of exciting news for the hospitality industry as well. They have really adapted way better because I see traditional hotels have also started something called as this co-working spaces have been implemented in many star hotels. So there's always going to be demand. And likewise, if you see civil engineering, for example, in a developing country like India, there is always going to be infrastructure works. And if you see, for example, electrical industry, some people said, there is not much job offers in mechanical electrical. But trust me on this, once this pandemic is over, I think it's already becoming an endemic. So very soon, there is going to be a lot of job roles, very interesting job roles opening up. At the end of the day, if you say future of placements, yes, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be like a sine wave. No, right now, yes, we might have a lot of dips here and there, but I'm very confident after every dip, there is always going to be an elevation. And I'm sure this post-COVID era, the best thing, what happened, India has positioned itself to be a new market leader when it comes to Asian economics. Because see, for obvious reasons, people are preferring India over China, for 100 other reasons. And pandemic has just made sure that, and time after time, India has proved that it can easily come out of any such situations. And I'm sure not just locally, not just for the Indian economy, but if you see globally, India is going to definitely bounce back at a better stage. We are going to be definitely better and way off than what we were before. So future is very bright. I am very confident that in the forthcoming days, there's going to be a lot of interesting job roles that will be created. The university should be very, very sensitive to the changing trends. As long as you are observing the trends, as long as you understand what is happening, you understand the market dynamics, and you understand the language of what the industry speaks, I think there's nothing stops from good institutions to ensure that they give all the required skill set to ensure the student gets a success. So I am all in for positivity, except for COVID positivity. Yeah.
That's an amazing insight as to what possibly can be the future of placements and recruitment in the corporate world. So thank you for such an enlightening session. Thank you all the panelists. I would request Mr. J.D. Sharma to give some closing remarks about the session.
We all just talked about what happened in pandemic. So I do have some story to share because on I think 22nd of June or 21st of June was the first day in 2020 when I first went to institute after the lockdown. So the same apprehension was there in my mind also that how these things are going to be taken care of, because we still have to get a lot of offer letters from the company who have already recruited the students. But I can share with you, there were only 2 companies who came up with deferment of their selection, and most of the company came with the deferment with the time. So in that time, I devised a mechanism so that I can undertake online processes. So I created a special placement drive for the student for 15 days. In that drive only, we are able to garner 64 seats for our students. But the beauty of this process that came out as I had started seeing in the last year, there were the drop in the company incoming to the institute is nearly 24%, and drop in my total recruitment is just 3%. So this all is because now the panels, now the processes, now the things are more comprehensive and easy for the companies as well as for the students now. So this has really given me an hope that in the subsequent time, even when the blending mode will start, I feel that panel which the company comes with are more comprehensive and elaborative, and my success rate for the good student increases as the panels are some from abroad, some maybe from some higher order of firms, or even the higher officers can join. They cannot travel, they can always join for a meeting. So in this situation, which seems to be little blooming, I really see a ray of hope in a way that the talent will be blooming even better in the subsequent time. So this is what I can see in the coming times.
That's amazing. That's amazing. This is a beautiful positivity in terms of the changing situations and the challenging times. So I think it was an amazing session. It was an amazing discussion. Thank you all. It was really insightful. Looking forward to connecting with you all again. Stay safe and take care. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.